Hey everybody. So I thought what we do is another quick tutorial in Fusion on doing patterns. You can do patterns with sketches or patterns with bodies, and it saves you a lot of time. So I had a job here recently with a client where it's a guy that owns like a custom wheel shop, and so when he's selling his wheels, he wants to offer, or I guess give out keychains with each one of the designs of the wheels that he sells to his clients. And so he gave me a bunch of pictures of his wheels, and I designed the keychains in Fusion 360. And there's a lot of geometry to them, and but the nice thing about wheels is they're wheels. They're round. They're symmetrical. They're it's repeating patterns. And so why go through, so like for example, this particular wheel. So if I hide the body here and I show you the picture that I got, this is the actual wheel that he sells. And so why go through and draw every single little line and curve and do whatever when you can just basically draw a couple circles, do one of these complex figures like one of the spokes here, and then basically just duplicate it around the radius or around the z-axis if you're printing it, and it would basically just duplicate it for you and saves a whole lot of time and stuff you're doing. So this was one example. I think I've done like eight I think so far. This was another one. Really, this is just a bunch of ovals stacked on top of each other, made into a pattern, and then extruded up with a couple of outset areas here for the actual rim, and then the keychain or the keyring holder here. But so anyway, I thought we'd go through that a little bit because it'll save you a lot of time and a lot of hassle. So why don't we do? We'll first what I think is easier of the two is, especially if you're going to 3D print something, is make your body first and then pattern your body. It seems to be Fusion's got its quirks to it. If you say you're sketching something and then you stop the sketch and then later on you go back and go, oh well, I'm going to make a pattern out of that. Fusion seems to have a weird issue with that. So, but if you do it with the body, you can do it whenever you want. So why don't we do a couple of quick examples. So why don't we do? We're going to do a new drawing here, and I'm just going to put in. We're just going to sort of mock up a keychain here, and you can use these same skills or whatever that I'm showing you, these same little tips on whatever project you're doing. So let's do a quick sketch. We're going to do a circle, and I'm just going to do a center diameter circle right here, and I'll make this 43 because that's what I made the other ones, 43 millimeters. And let's think of a cute little design here, just something, whatever. And now what I want to do is I'll go ahead and stop this sketch, and so this is going to be sort of the outside of my wheel. Let me make one more bigger circle here, and right here, and let's come outside just a skosh. And so what we want to do is turn this into a body, and then we want to pattern that all the way around the circle. So first things first, I'm just going to go ahead and hit the home orientation here to make it easier to see. I'm going to go to the extrude command, and I'm just going to rise this up. Let's just call it 5 millimeters, just for fun. Hit OK. And so now I've got a new body, and you can see my sketch got hidden, but look, it's still there, so we can always go back to it, no problem. But now let's to do a pattern. You go to the Create menu here, and you come down to the Pattern, and you can do a rectangular pattern, or you can do a circular pattern, or on a path. We're going to do a circular pattern since we're going to go right around the circle. So it's asking, what do we want to pattern? Do we want to pattern a face, a body, a feature, a component? Well, I've only got really bodies and faces here, right? Because we're just going to do a body in this case. I'm going to select the object because it's asking me for the object, and then we're going to select the axis. And so I want to spin it right around, I guess what would be the Z. So I'm going to click the Z. And now let's just go back up to the top view here so you can see. So it defaults to 3. And you can either tick up here or you can tick over here, either one. And it looks like the Umbrella Corporation logo. Oh, that's kind of cool. Interesting. Just had an idea. So anyway, so that's how you do the pattern, and then say OK. And now if we go back to the home view, you can see now it's basically duplicated those bodies around my axis here. And if we turn our sketch back on, and let's say we want to go ahead and extrude this outer ring up, let's just call this 10. Then there you go, and you can clean this up and do whatever you want. So now, let's say you wanted to do a like an inset, like a hole or something like that. It's very, it's the same process. So if you want to do a new sketch on the face of an existing body and then pattern that, you can as well. So let's do a new sketch. Let's do a circle, and I'm going to do it right on this face, and I'm just going to just throw it right there. Say stop sketch, and then what I want to do. So it's ultimately what I want to do is recess this. But in order to pattern it, you want to make it its own separate body, because remember, when you're doing a pattern, you can pattern a face or a body. So if you extrude it up, let's hide this first sketch so we get it out of the way. So if we extrude this up, let's just call this 3 millimeters. Remember, my options here are to join, cut, intersect. Well, I can't cut because I'm not cutting into anything. And if I join it, then it's going to become part of the body. And so then I can't duplicate just that one thing or pattern just that one thing. So in this case, let's just, for temporary sake, let's call it a new body and hit OK. So now you can see over here, I've got all these little separate bodies, and here's my one little guy down here. And so we're going to make a pattern just out of him. So let's go to create and pattern one more time, and here we're going to do a circular pattern. And it's asking me to pick the object, which I have, and the axis again will be this little blue Z axis. And let's go to the top view, and again it defaults to 3, but I've got 5 spokes, so let's just take it up to 5. Or 6, sorry. Yeah, I did 6 on the first one, so 6. So you can see now they're all in the same position going around. Let's hit OK to that, and now, so you can see I've got all of these rolling around here. So now what we can do is, but they're all separate bodies, right? You can see I've got a ton of bodies over here. And if you click on one, then they each highlight, but they're all different bodies. So let's just tidy this up. Let's pick all the top surfaces, and let's do the extrude command again, but this time we're going to go down, and we're going to cut a hole, or just a little recess there, and hit OK. And so now those other bodies have kind of gone away, because you can see that they're now, you got the blue hashed squiggly line thingy, but they're not really there anymore, right? So that's why they're in that shape. And now what we want to do is go ahead and highlight this whole thing and do the modify and combine, because we're going to make this all one body, and OK. And so now I've got one, see, I've got really only got one body because all these guys are not existing anymore. And there you go. That's patterns. So let's do, that's patterning bodies. Let's do a pattern of a sketch. It's a very close process. It's almost the exact same thing. Some of the menus are a little different. First, why don't we go ahead and do a, you kind of have to plan ahead a little bit if you're doing it on a sketch, because like I said, if you start a sketch and then you make a feature and then you say stop sketch, and you go back later on, Fusion has a tough time trying to figure out, I don't know why, but that you want to make a pattern of that sketch because you've stopped it. You would think that selecting it and saying edit sketch, which maybe you can just do the edit. So let's try that. So let's do another circle. I'm going to do it right here. We'll go a little bigger with this one, and we'll make, in this case, why don't we go ahead and do a rectangle. And then so the next thing here is under, if you're going to pattern a sketch, then under the sketch menu, come down here and you'll see circular pattern, rectangular pattern, the same menus you had under the create when you were doing a body. So let's do a circular pattern. Let's pick the object, and what we're going to do is hold the shift key and pick all 4 of these little lines. So it's telling you you've got 4 selected. Now let's pick the center point. Remember before, when it was a body, it was asking you for an axis because it was a 3-dimensional object. This is only 2 dimensions, so it's just saying what's your center point. Pick the center, and again it's defaulting to 3. why don't we do something, I don't know, let's overlap these a bit. Cool. Okay. And then now we'll stop the sketch. And so that's what you got. And now you do have all these little extra pieces here. But the center is actually kind of the cool thing, because what you can do now is you can actually raise all of these up and make a cool body out of it. Once again, just holding the shift key. Come back over to the home orientation and say extrude, and I'll pull this up 5 millimeters. Hit OK. And so there you go, you got a cool pattern out of it. And now if you want to go back and let's say that, because that center portion, sorry, is also a sketch now, so you can actually select that and raise him up. Let's call him 10. And so there you go. And now you do have multiple bodies here. So again, if you want to make this all one body, you just select the whole thing, come back over to modify and combine, and then you combine it all, and now it'll be, once you hit OK, one body. And again, you can do the same thing. So you can select each one of these. Let's say we want to do a circle in each one of these, and we'll do a sketch first. Let's just do a sketch of a circle here. And so I'm inside the sketch, so it's still letting me do the circular pattern. So let's do that. Let's pick my object, that circle, and let's pick my center point, which is that. And I don't remember, I think we did, did we do 18? Nope, that's too many. Get closer. Closer. 13. Lucky 13. That's awesome. And so there you go. And so now we can stop this sketch, and we can go through, and you can pick each and every single one of these. And we can do the extrude command on that, and we can say -2. And okay there. And so there we've got our secondary pattern. So that's how you do patterns with sketches and bodies. Pretty easy, saves you a lot of time, especially when you have something complex that you need to duplicate. So anyway, hope it helps. You know, thumbs up and hit the subscribe and all that good stuff if you enjoyed it. Appreciate it. Have a good one. See you in the next time.